Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 because in the last few hours, new and very interesting details have emerged that truly deserve our attention. As you also saw yesterday, Mob Entertainment released an official Christmas artwork, an image that at first glance might look like a simple Christmas greeting, but that actually hides many secrets. And as we now know, when it comes to Poppy Playtime, nothing is left to chance. Yesterday, we already analyzed some hidden elements inside this image, but today we're going even deeper, because there are other official details we haven't looked at yet, and these could have very important connections to the story of Chapter 5. Some of these details, when put together, open the door to new and truly disturbing theories. In this video, we'll do a complete analysis of the new details. I'll already warn you that one of these connections could suggest the arrival of a very bad event in the game, something that could completely change the atmosphere and the direction of the story. Of course, we won't stop at analysis alone. As always, we'll put the pieces together, compare official clues, and build solid theories, trying to understand what Mob Entertainment is really trying to tell us through this Christmas artwork. Before we start though, as always, I ask you to support the video. If you enjoy analyses, theories, and all content about Poppy Playtime, leave a big like because it helps the channel a lot, and subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss the next updates on Chapter 5. That said, let's go and let's start with the first connection. Let's start right away with the analysis of the hidden elements in this Christmas artwork. The first detail I want to focus on is Doi the Doffman. Behind him, if we look closely, we can notice the presence of a very particular painting, a painting that at first glance might seem like just a decorative detail, but in reality hides a very precise reference. Looking closer, we realize that this painting depicts a tarot card, and not just any card. It's the Ten of Swords. Now, if you are tarot enthusiasts, or even just curious, you know that the Ten of Swords is not a positive card. On the contrary, it is often associated with concepts of betrayal, sudden pain, loss, or the feeling of having reached the lowest point. It is, in short, a card that signals a difficult moment, a period of hardship, and even an ending in some aspects. But, as always in tarot, even the darkest cards have a deeper and more nuanced meaning. The Ten of Swords actually indicates the completion of a cycle, the end of a dark phase, and the possible beginning of something new. It is not only the end of a difficult period, but also the preparation for a change, for a rebirth. And if we think about it, this element could have a direct connection to Chapter 5. Let's not forget that, on Steam, Chapter 5 is described as latest chapter of the saga, meaning the last chapter of the saga. This points exactly to a narrative climax, a chapter that could close an important cycle in the story of Poppy Playtime. So, the painting with the Ten of Swords might not be there by chance. It could foreshadow important and dark events within the game, moments of tension, betrayal, or surprising plot twists. At the same time, just like in tarot readings, it could also suggest that after this difficult period, there will be space for a resolution, the closing of a narrative arc, and the beginning of a new phase of the story. In other words, this small detail in the artwork could contain a hidden message, a clue about what players will face in Chapter 5, between disturbing moments and plot twists, but also with the prospect of closing a cycle and moving towards something new. We can say this: as always in Mob Entertainment games, every small detail can have a huge meaning, and the Ten of Swords is definitely one of those elements worth studying carefully, because it could foreshadow a very important and perhaps very dark event in Chapter 5. Now let's continue our analysis, and this time we focus on another very interesting detail, still connected to the world of tarot and, in a way, directly linked to what we just saw with the Ten of Swords. If we look closely at the Christmas artwork published by Mob Entertainment, we can notice another painting positioned in such a way that it immediately catches the eye if observed carefully. This painting, just like the one behind Doi the Doffman, seems to reference a tarot card. And it's no coincidence that this second tarot card appears in the same artwork. The choice to include two such different cards is never random. The card in question is very similar to the tarot called the Fool. Unlike the Ten of Swords, which represents the end of a cycle, difficult moments, and the conclusion of a dark period, the Fool symbolizes the beginning of a journey, the opening to new possibilities and new adventures. It is the symbol of a new beginning, of innocence and curiosity that leads to embarking on a path that can be full of surprises, challenges, and discoveries. And this is where the connection with the Ten of Swords becomes really fascinating. Think about it. The Ten of Swords talks to us about the end of a dark cycle, the lowest point, the closure of a difficult phase. But immediately after, we have the Fool telling us, now everything can start over. This is a very powerful transition because it suggests that Chapter 5 might not only be a moment of tension and darkness, but also the beginning of something new, an adventure that will start precisely after the end of the dark period represented by the Ten of Swords. This dynamic is really interesting because it offers a very deep metaphorical reading. In Chapter 5, players could witness a narrative closure of difficult events followed by the opening of a new story arc or a radical change in the game's atmosphere. In other words, Mob Entertainment might have wanted to communicate through these tarot cards that the end and the beginning are connected, and that behind the darkness of Chapter 5 there will be room for a new path, perhaps even more mysterious and intriguing. In short, by looking together at the Ten of Swords and the Fool, we can read a clear and powerful message: the end of a painful cycle and the beginning of a new adventure. This detail, if confirmed in the game as well, could foreshadow very important narrative events and shows us how every small element of the artwork is carefully designed to provide clues to the most attentive players. Let's now move on to another painting within the Christmas artwork that deserves our attention. This painting is particularly interesting because it contains very important symbols, elements that at first glance might seem like simple decorations, but in reality could hide crucial connections to the lore of Poppy Playtime. If we look closely, we can see three very well-defined geometric shapes: a blue circle, a yellow triangle, and a red rectangle. Now, if you followed the previous videos or remember the Halloween artwork published by Mob Entertainment, you'll recall that these three geometric shapes were already present there. In fact, among the hidden details in the Halloween artwork, there was a Halloween pumpkin featuring exactly these three geometric shapes. This immediately tells us that this is not a random detail. These three geometric shapes seem to be a recurring motif, a hidden symbol that Mob Entertainment inserts into artworks with some consistency. And it's not just the shapes that matter. The colors play a fundamental role. Think about the colors themselves: red, yellow, and blue. These are colors that appear very often in the world of Poppy Playtime and are strongly connected to the main characters. Take for example Huggy Wuggy. His fur is blue, his hands are yellow, and his mouth is red. These colors also appear in the Boxy Boob and even in the prison symbol from Chapter 4, where we notice three concentric squares, one red, one blue, and one yellow. All these elements make us think that these three geometric shapes are not simple decorations, but could be part of a larger and more significant symbol, perhaps linked to some hidden message within Playtime, or even to the secret laboratory. It's as if Mob Entertainment is creating a kind of visual language, a code that the most attentive players can decipher, connecting symbols and colors from one chapter to another. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. You are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.